making landfall somewhere hopefully north of our region, not in our region. But the forecast with the new advisory, despite this weakening just a bit in the moment's time with this little fluctuation, has not changed. Our storm surge forecast has changed. Again, by tomorrow, I'm not going to be surprised if that fluctuation of the intensity goes back up. Will we see that pressure drop below 900? Maybe not. Maybe that was the peak intensity. I sure hope that was the peak intensity. But the environment until this time tomorrow is still conducive for this storm to kind of see those kind of ebb and flows as far as intensity up and down. All right, as we go through the new advisory, still at the east at 9 miles per hour. So it's not even picking up its forward speed yet because it hasn't joined with that trough that's going to move off to the north and east. No real changes with the cone placement. We still have much of Tampa region farther to the north, including DeSoto County and into the Cape Hayes Peninsula. So areas south, there's no comfort in, hey, we're not in the cone. That just means you're not expecting landfall. We're still expecting that storm surge to push into those regions. Red areas, no real changes with the watches and the warnings. The red areas are hurricane warnings. Hurricane force winds can be expected. That's over 74 miles per hour. And those hurricane watches for Glades, Hendry, and Collier, meaning hurricane force winds are possible. So you want to prepare for that. If you have hurricane shutters, they should be up. If they're not, do it tomorrow. As we look at the storm surge potential and the storm surge forecast, it has not budged. Areas north of Englewood have 10 to 15 feet possible. Areas in Charlotte Harbor, areas in Lee County, coastal Lee, 6 to 10 feet. But upriver, it's not 6 to 10 feet. It's more on that 1 to 3 with a little bit more for some areas. And we'll go zoom in a little bit. But the surge forecast has not changed with the new 11 o'clock advisory. 4 to 7 feet for Collier County and farther to the south into Monroe County. A little bit lower than that. As far as the rain is concerned, it continues to push inland tonight. This is not even Milton rain. This is the rain. Last week when we were starting to see things bubble up on the models, we said, hey, there might be something. And then we said, don't worry, it's just going to be a little bit of rain. That's the rain. The hurricane was kind of following suit, and that's what we're going to be tracking come Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. As far as the winds are concerned, tomorrow, not a very windy day. In fact, it's just kind of breezy at times with on and off rain. Rain will be your biggest nuisance for tomorrow when you're trying to get things done, trying to pick things up around the house, and you're dealing with heavy rain. I'll walk you through that futurecast coming up a little bit later, about quarter after or maybe 20 after. We'll kind of go through that. By 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, now we're seeing deteriorating conditions. So Tuesday night, we should be in place, right? We have wind gusts starting to pick up. It's the second half on Wednesday where that storm surge potential is starting to increase. We have those southeasterly winds, so not onshore for most, like Naples is not onshore yet. Downtown Naples not dealing with onshore winds, but Marco Island, that's onshore wind, southeasterly wind. So that surge forecast is dependent on where you are, where the winds are in relation to how your coastline is shaped. By Wednesday night, 8:30, we're starting to see Milton approach Sarasota, approach Bradenton. Again, the models haven't really budged off this idea of making landfall in that Tampa region. Not good for Tampa, especially areas just to the south where they could have more storm surge. But that is still 48 hours away, and that cone will only shrink in size as we get closer in time as our margin of error begins to go down. So just keep in mind that there will be fluctuations in this forecast, and with a state that's oriented north to south, those fluctuations can change a lot of what your impact could end up being. That's why the storm surge forecast is a little bit more of a range and not a specific number, because a lot can happen as this gets closer to our region. One thing to note is that this storm will drastically lose a lot of its tropical characteristics once it makes its way on land and interacts with that front, but the winds will stay onshore and we'll still get 50, 45 mile per winds. So when I say it loses its tropical characteristics, it will, instead of getting its energy from the Gulf of Mexico and the warm water and kind of that latent heat exchange that it would have with those thunderstorms, it can grab some energy from that cold front. And that cold front is what could sustain some of these winds a little bit longer throughout the day on Thursday. Instead of just seeing that tropical storm kind of collapse, that cold front could keep those winds onshore for parts of the day on Thursday. All right, we'll have more analysis and the timing of the rain coming up in just a bit.